upskilling and why is it important? And also, how does it compare to reskilling?
Yeah, I think upskilling is basically, I mean, there's both upskilling and reskilling involves picking up new skill. So there's no, no question about that. But if you really want to differentiate the two, I guess, upskilling is the process of learning new skills, or teaching your staff or your employees or yourself new skills for a job that you currently have, so that you can be better at your job. While reskilling is basically the process of learning new skills so that you can do a different job. So again, I guess that's the difference. But again, both involved and imply learning new skills. And upskilling is basically, like what I've mentioned, current job, and you are trying to improve yourself so that you can do your current job better and more effectively for yourself as well as for your organization. Whereas reskilling is basically you are trying to switch, to another role, perhaps. Yeah.
Right. So why is it so important to the upskill, whether it's
right.
from personal view?
So my personal view that it is important to upskill. Again, we have to look at current situation. The COVID-19, and actually it exists already. The need to upskill is just that the entire pandemic hastened it. The entire pandemic makes it even more obvious that one have to upskill yourself. And not just, as an individual, right? Organizations will have to change the way they function as well. And as an individual, I believe that, we have a lot of individuals here today. You have to upskill because today's companies, today's teams, leadership teams are facing a tough reality. Your company is facing a very tough reality, especially in this pandemic. And we all know that tried and true ways of, again, like what I've mentioned, doing business are being rapidly changing and upended by new technologies and new competitors, and of course, customer expectations. And when the consumers or, the clients of the companies are demanding and having these expectations. Like, for example, if you run a restaurant today and if you are not online, you are in trouble. It's as simple as that. You either have to be on GrabFood, or you have to be on Delivery, for example, right? You have to have a website, or at the very least, you have to have a Facebook page, right, where people can go and call you and order, right? Especially in these times of MCO, though we can already go out. Right? And because of this, because of the customers' expectations, the clients' expectations, companies will have to change. And when companies have to change, then you as an employee have to respond. And you can only thrive if you are digitally savvy, you are future fluent. And companies nowadays, they are looking for employees who are agile, who are strategic, who are data-driven and resilient. And they need you to be that now. So I would say that if you can, differentiate yourselves by learning new skills, by upskilling yourself, then you will have an advantage in your organization. That's how I see it. And I cannot emphasize enough that organizations, they are transitioning to remote workers. They have to do things very differently. In fact, they have to pivot to entire new business models. So if you don't have that extra edge or knowledge or value to kind of contribute to your company, then I think you're not in a very good place. So obviously, all this is said, provided you have a growth mindset, right? If you are someone that do not have a growth mindset, very satisfied with just being at the status quo, then obviously all this doesn't quite make sense to you. But I believe that, our audience today, all of you, do have a growth mindset. That's why you're viewing and listening in today.
Yeah, Saturday evening, rather than spending the time doing something else, here they are with us. And I'm just so curious, Howie, and I love some of the words, the phrases that you have used, future fluid, and I totally agree. Everyone needs tech, actually, no matter what sort of business that you're doing. With that said, what's your favorite story, actually, of that a student has told you, related to this?
If I understand your question correctly, as in, a student who managed to pick up new skills.
Yeah, who managed to pick up new skills and, been through forward school and is now like super forward now, what's their story?
Right. I mean, we are a rather new school. We are no short of testimonials in the sense, if you go to our Facebook page and all that, you can read them. But if I can kind of really highlight one, I mean, it's not like, become superpowers or anything. But for our program, our 2 years program, what's unique about our program is that, from semester 2 onwards, our students will be attached to a company. And from this experience, and I'm very encouraged by this story because, this boy basically was attached and, the company just throw him something, right? And it's not about what the boy learns in the classroom, but rather, I guess, for us, we have been instilling the fact that it's not what is given you, but, do you have the ability to seek out the answers, right? It's not so much about the knowledge that we are giving you. Of course, we will be feeding you knowledge, but it's a lot about you taking the initiative to seek them out. Because in terms of and applying it, right? And so this story is basically, this company just throw him a very difficult challenge, which obviously we have not yet covered in school. But what I'm really encouraged about this boy is that he really go all out to check in with his instructor, to check in with everyone that he knows.
If I can just stop you right there, Howie, if you don't mind sharing, what is that challenge? I'm just so curious because you mentioned the challenge a few times, and I'm dying to know what is that challenge.
It's a very technical challenge, lah. So probably our audience here might not know. Basically, is to change. It has to do with some hex code and about translating that, right? Because it's an interface between the hardware and the software. So he will have to do some difficult programming tasks, which is not taught. And so what really encourages me is that, this boy go all out. And that's what we want to see in our students, right? It's not so much about what you know, because Google knows everything. The question is that whether do you know how to take the steps to find them, and whether do you have, the desire and the drive to solve a problem.